Overhead cost variance. What is fixed overhead cost variance? Is it absorbed in actual, or is it budgeted in actual, or is it budgeted and absorbed? What is it? Please type it out in the chat box. Be a little active. I can see there are 11 participants and I have just one person who has responded. How about the others? I'm talking about fixed overhead cost variance. It's the difference between which two? Do you remember the example we did yesterday? 50,000 was the budgeted, 1 lakh was absorbed, and 60,000 was the actual bill. Isn't it? So difference between 1 lakh and 60,000 was our fixed overhead cost variance. Does everybody remember? Why no response? Didn't I tell you between absorbed and actual will be our fixed overhead cost variance? Okay, now what about fixed overhead expenditure variance? It's the difference between which two components? I need everybody to answer. Expenditure variance is the difference between which two components? Budgeted and actual. Perfect, Mashok. Great. And what about fixed overhead volume variance? Everyone, what is fixed overhead volume variance? Mashuk says absorbed and budgeted. Others, I'd like some more responses. Fixed overhead volume variance. Why is the chat box so silent? Why do I not have any responses? Taslima says absorb minus budgeted. Great. Come on, I need more responses. Okay, Suhail, thank you. Okay, so now let's look into each component. Can you tell me how do we calculate absorbed cost using hours? If hours related information is given in the question, how will we calculate absorbed fixed overheads? Can somebody tell me? SR into SH. Taslima, thank you. Others, absorbed fixed overheads on the basis of hours. And Taslima, is it SH for actual output or standard hours for standard output? Please everyone respond. Absorbed cost is SR into SH. SH is for Standard hours for actual output or standard hours for standard output? 11. Illustration 11 begins at page number 44. Let's look into it. A company has a normal capacity of 120 machines, working 8 hours per day of 25 days in a month. The fixed overheads are budgeted at 1,44,000 per month. The standard time required to manufacture one unit of product is 4 hours, right? So this is the standard hours taken for one unit. In April 2021, the company worked 24 days of 840 machines hours per day and produced 5,305 units. What is this 5,305 units? Your actual output. The actual fixed overheads were rupees 1,42,000. Compute the following fixed overhead variance: efficiency variance, capacity variance, calendar variance, basically all the fixed overhead variances that we have seen. So here we can see that the question has already given budgeted and actual, right? But remember, I have taught you how to calculate this. In case they don't give it to you directly, you will have to calculate it by doing BH into BR or BO into BR, or for actual it will be AH into AR or AO into AR. I hope that is clear. These questions are straightforward, giving you the budgeted cost and the actual cost. But in the exam, if they don't give it, don't freak out. You have to be able to calculate it. You know all the formulas. Okay, clear? So let's look at the solution. The question already has given us what is the budgeted cost. It is 1,44,000. We are calculating it for the month. So let's put our budgeted cost here. And what is our actual cost? 1,42,000. Okay. Now, coming to the working days. What is our working days in the question? 25 days is budgeted, correct? It's given here. Normal capacity means that is your budgeted capacity, what you have with your hand. Capacity that is with you. We can say that is 25 days. And but what is the actual days they've worked is only 24 days. So that's bad. Now, working hours. What is the working hours? Working hours will be 120 machines into the 8 hours it works for the 25 days. Correct? So that will be 120 machines into 8 hours into 25 days. That will give me 24,000 working hours. So these are the budgeted hours. Can somebody tell me what is the actual hours from the question? How will we calculate the actual hours? Come on, somebody in the chat box. You have the question in front of you. How will you calculate the actual hours? So you know we have 840 machine hours per day. You know what is 840 machine hours? Perfect, Neetu. 840 into 24. So what is 840? 840 machine. Here what they have done is we have kept the machines separately and the hours per day separately. Here they have multiplied both the machine and the working hours. And they have given the total amount. Clear? So instead of multiplying 120 into 8, they have already multiplied their machines into the hours per day and gotten 840 machine hours. So here we can say the total actual hours is 840 machine hours into 24 days. That gives us 20,160 working hours. So this is budgeted. Please be clear. This is budgeted. This is actual. Okay. Now coming to output. What is our production output that we have budgeted? It will be how much? Like our standard time to take one unit is 4 hours, isn't it? So if we have a budget of 24,000 hours, how many units can we produce in 24,000 hours? 24,000 by 4 hours, which is 6,000 units, isn't it? Is everybody clear here how we got the 6,000 units? Does anybody want me to repeat it? Clear. Okay. And actual. Actual is how much? Can somebody tell me what is the actual output? Please let me know in the chat box. I'm not going to say. Yes, Taslima. Thank you. 5,305. So I hope everybody is clear with this table. Any confusion here? We've gotten the budgeted fixed cost, we have the actual fixed cost, we have the budgeted days, actual days. Okay, Mashuk says 6,000. Mashuk, what does the question say? Question says that for one unit, it will take 4 hours to produce. And we have budgeted hours of 24,000, isn't it? So how many units can we produce in 24,000 hours? 24,000 divided by 4 hours, isn't it? Total hours by hours for each unit will give me total units I can produce in 24,000 hours. Clear, Mashuk? Why 6,000? Clear. Perfect. So let's proceed. Okay. Okay. Now coming to the first part, which is standard hours for actual output. So now what we know is that we need to calculate all these various fixed overhead uh, variances, correct? Cost variance, expenditure variance, volume variance, efficiency variance, capacity variance, calendar variance. Now, what you need to understand is you can have your own approach of which question or which part to attack first. So now the thing is, we have budgeted cost, we have actual cost. What do we need here? What more do we need here? Can somebody tell me? Absorbed, correct. Correct, Neetu. So we need our absorbed cost. And again, here, what is there? We have both hours and output. We can calculate again on the basis of hours as well as on the basis of output. So let's do that. Let's get a practice of that as well. The first thing we'll do is calculate our standard hours for actual output. So what is standard hours for actual output? What is our actual output? We already have our actual output to be 5,305. We know that the standard hours for one unit is equal to 4. So what will be the total standard hours for actual output? 5,305 into 4. That will give me standard hours for actual output. Basically my SH, isn't it? In terms of hours. So I get my SH here. Okay, is this clear? Okay, so this will give me my SH. Now, what is the next component for absorb cost? We have our SH. We'll multiply SH with what to give us absorbed cost? SH into SR. Perfect. So will we calculate SR in terms of hours or in terms of units? Can somebody tell me? What is absorbed cost? SR into SH, correct? SH we have calculated. Now, for actual output. Now we need to calculate SR. Will we calculate SR on the basis of units or SR for the hours? Standard rate per hour or standard rate per unit? We are calculating standard hours, Correct. So it will be on the basis of hours. So let's go and calculate our standard rate per hour. What is standard rate? Can somebody remember the formula? How do we calculate standard rate for hours? Tell me in the chat box. Standard rate is what? Your predetermined rate. Remember? Something divided by something. Standard rate is your predetermined. BC divided by BH. Perfect, Neetu. Budgeted cost divided by budgeted hours. Here, everybody? Yes, correct, Mashuk. Now tell me the amount. What is my budgeted cost? Already given in the question. Budgeted cost is 1,44,000 divided by budgeted hours, 24,000. So that gives me a standard rate of 6 rupees per hour. Everybody clear here with the calculation of standard hours and standard rate? Everybody? Perfect. Okay. So now let's go for standard rate for days because this will help us in capacity variance. Correct? So tell me everybody, what will be my standard rate for days? How do you think we will calculate the standard rates for days? You know how we have calculated for hours. Use your logic, use your brain a little and think how we will calculate it for days. I need somebody to answer in the chat box. How will you calculate the standard rate for days? Come on, think a little. We have calculated standard rate for hours. How will we calculate it for days? This is also the predetermined rate. But for the days, your base will be days here. Neetu says BC by BD. Perfect, Neetu. It will be your budgeted cost by budgeted days, isn't it? When we calculated standard rate for hours, we divided it by budgeted hours. If you're doing it for days, it will be by budgeted days, correct? Everybody clear with this? Yes, Khatija, perfect. So now we will calculate for the days. It will be 144 divided by 25 days. So we have gotten our standard rate for days also. So you see how over here for absorbed cost, I have kind of skipped the standard rate for units. Why? Because we are utilizing standard hours. But you know what? Let's calculate for units also so that we can see the difference. We can calculate absorbed cost on both the bases. Okay. Now tell me, how will we calculate standard rates on the basis of units? Tell me, what's the formula here? Standard rate for units. BC by BO. Perfect. Budgeted cost by budgeted output. Tell me the values. 1,44,000 divided by 6,000. Correct? So we have our standard rate per output. Here, everybody. So now let's go ahead and calculate what? What should we calculate? Which cost will we calculate now? What is the missing cost? Which cost do we have to calculate now? Everyone, what is the cost we have to calculate? Absorbed cost. Thank you. So absorbed cost is to be calculated. And as always, we can calculate it on the basis of hours or in terms of output. Correct? In hours, what is the formula? SR into SH for actual output. Here we will directly do SR into what is in the terms of output? SR into, come on everybody, AO. Correct. Yes, perfect. Now you tell me, how will we do SR into SH? We have calculated SH for actual output always, into SR, 24. Is it? Or 6 we will take. Which one? Which SR we will take in terms of hours? 6 or 24? 6, correct. So that gives me 1,27,320. So this is my absorbed cost. And in terms of output, it will be 24 into actual output, 6,000. What is this difference? 1 minute. We have to take actual output. Everybody, I've taken budgeted output, I think. Yes, I took 6,000. That's why. So we'll change that to actual output. So we'll get 1,27,320. Is it clear, everybody? How in both the terms we'll get the same answers? Clear? You can use any method in the exam, but just be careful what you're multiplying with what. Okay? Thank you, Khatija. How about the others? All clear? Everybody has calculated absorbed cost? Clear. Okay, great. So now I think it's very easy. What do you want to start with? Let's start with the first one, cost variance. I like it to always start with cost variance. What is cost variance, everybody? What minus what? Quickly tell me in the chat box. Fixed overhead cost variance. What is that? What's the difference? Absorbed minus actual. Perfect. So that will be how much? Absorbed is 1,27,320 minus actual 1,42,000. Is it favorable or adverse? Actual is more. Definitely adverse. Correct. Correct, Khatija. Done. Next, expenditure variance. Difference between which and which? Expenditure variance is the difference between which two? Budgeted and actual. Perfect. Perfect. So how will we calculate this? What's our budgeted? 1,44,000 minus actual 1,42,000. 44 minus 1,44 minus 1,42,000. What do you think? It's favorable or adverse? Actual is lower. Yes, favorable. Expenditure variance also calculated. Now, volume variance. Volume variance is the difference between which two? Budgeted and absorbed. Correct. Now tell me. Budgeted is 1,44,000. Absorbed is 1,27,000. How do we check if it's favorable or not? What did I tell you? Think of budget as actual in this case. So if budgeted is more here, is it favorable or adverse? Budgeted is more. Adverse. Yes, correct. Okay. So we can cross verify. 2000 is favorable. So this, let's say it is adverse. So we will look it as minus, or let's do it separately here. 16 lakh 680 minus 2000. That will definitely give us 14 lakh 680 adverse. Here we have cross verified as well. This three. All good? Any confusions, any doubts? Shall we proceed? Okay. Now, come on. Efficiency variance. We've already discussed. SH minus AH into SR. What is SH? SH has come to 21,220. Isn't it? Standard hours. Minus, what is our actual hours? AH. 20,160 into SR 6. That comes to 6,360. So what do you think? Is it favorable or adverse? Standard hours should have been 21,220. We have taken 20,000. Perfect, Taslima. Favorable. Excellent. So we have a favorable variance. Now, capacity. AH minus BH into SR. What is AH? Actual hours taken 20,000. But we had a total capacity of 24,000. Is it adverse or favorable? Into the standard rate. Is it adverse or favorable? We have a capacity of 24,000. We have used 20,160. Adverse. Correct. Please others participate. It's for your benefit. If you participate, it is better for you to enhance your learning. Okay, calendar variance. What is it? ED minus PD into SR. So here we will need the standard rate on the basis of days. So what do we know? Actual days we took was 24. Actual days we had is 25. Multiplied by standard rate per day, 5,760. That gives us 5,760. What happened? Yeah, 1 day difference. So what do you think? This is adverse or favorable? Adverse, correct. Because we have used lesser number of days. We could have used 25 days, but we have used only 24 days. So remember, the logic behind capacity variance and calendar variance is the same. Everybody clear? We can add up all these three. It comes to 22,440. Where is our volume variance? No. Okay. One thing I will tell you here. In fixed overhead variance, the difference between these three will not sum up to volume variance, because your calendar variance and capacity variance is the same thing. You're just calculating one in the number of days and one on the basis of number of hours. So all three will not add up to volume variance. However, I think efficiency variance and capacity variance will always add up to your volume variance. So this way you can confirm. Is that clear? Because both are calculated on the basis of hours. You cannot consider calendar because this is days. And your volume variance is calculated on days. You cannot add up all the three. That's wrong. So you will only add up your efficiency variance and capacity variance. And that should sum up to your volume variance. Is it clear? Only efficiency plus capacity will be equal to volume. Calendar variance is separate because that is calculated on the basis of days. Clear, everybody? Is this question all clear? Shall we proceed? Clear. Perfect. So now I think the material has plenty of questions for variances, material cost variance, labor head variance, variable variance, fixed overhead variance. So many questions are there. Pick in test your knowledge, pick questions and start solving. Now your concepts are clear. We have solved a good number of questions. Your concepts are clear. So I need you to practice a lot more, because only if you keep practicing this AHAR, AO, AP, all this confusion will go from your head. Okay. So please practice a lot of questions. This material, this PDF that I've shared, it has a lot of questions in test your knowledge. So please practice those questions. The only thing I noticed in test your knowledge was there was one specific question which was a little different, which is this one. Which is it? Question number 14. So question number 14 was something I found a little different because it had a little bit of back working. Everything else is the same. Price variance, usage variance, fixed overhead variance, all the same. So please practice. There will be some new things that you will learn, and practice will help you get a grip over all of this. Because in the exam, don't clog up your mind with mugging up AHAR, SO. No, it will not work in the exam. You need to know these concepts and then only it will flow in the exam. Is that clear? Okay, perfect. So now this one last question, question number 40, has a little different concept. Let's look at this. Following data is extracted from the books of XYZ Limited for the month of Jan. Estimation, like standard or budget, you can say. Material A, 800 kgs to be used. Material B, 600 kgs to be used. Price not given. Price given for material B at 30 rupees. Amount not given. Amount given for material B, 18,600 into 30. Normal loss was expected to be 10% of total input materials. Actuals. 1480 of output was produced. What does that mean? 1480 means your actual output, AO. Now, particulars. Material A, we actually used 900 kgs. Material B, we don't know how much we used. Material B's price is given and the total is given to be 59,825. This is the total material cost we have used. Other information that is given is material cost variance is 3625 and material price variance is given to be 175. You are required to calculate all the material related variances. Now, to quickly brush up the concepts, can you tell me how do we calculate material cost variance? Can somebody tell me the formula of material cost variance? What is the difference between what and what? Let's see how many of you have revised and practiced and understood. Please tell me in the chat box. Okay, perfect. Khatija said SQSP minus AQAP, material cost variance. Great job. Need to say standard and actual. Perfect. So that is SQSP minus AQAP. Perfect. I'm glad everybody remembers. And what is material price variance formula? What minus what at what is material price variance? Price, SP minus AP into AQ. Correct. Correct, Neetu. It will not be SR because it is material. So, but the concept is correct. SR minus AR into AQ. Correct. SP minus AP into AQ. Correct. I'm very glad everybody remembers. Perfect. So, material cost, we have clarified that part. So, we know material cost variance and material price variance. And we have some information given here. So, it is just a back working. Let's quickly try to solve this question. So, as you remember, what do we do? First thing, we will calculate the standard input for the actual output and actual input for the actual output. And then we'll calculate our revised standard quantity. Now, one thing to remember here is they have given us estimation that this is the quantity to be used. But please understand, this is not the quantity to be used for our actual output. This is a budget that we should have used. We don't need this. We need what? What is the standard input for the actual output? How will we calculate that? Do you remember we have an actual output of 1,480 kg. This is our actual output. So if we have to calculate the input, how will we calculate? Do you remember? X will be our input minus, how much is the loss? 10%. So 0.1x will be equal to 1480, isn't it? So x will be equal to 1480 divided by 0.9. So x will be equal to, how much is that coming to? 1644.44. Correct. Thank you. Got it? All clear? We can round this off to, let's say 164. Okay, let's keep it like that and then see. Okay. So now what we know that this is the standard proportion. 800 by 800 plus 600 and 600 by 800 plus 600. So we will divide it in that proportion. What does that give us? Is equal to 1644.44 into 800 divided by, what is 800 plus 600? 1400. Correct? So 939.68, we can keep it as 940, round off. And this will be what? Into 600 by 1400. It is coming to 704.76, which will be 705. Everybody clear with the standard input calculation? Any doubts? How we got 940 and 705? Thank you, Athira. What about the others? Clear. So let's quickly go and place the standard input for actual output. 940 and 705. Okay. Now, next what we need? Next we need is the calculation of the standard price of A. This is missing. How do we calculate the standard price for A? Now, what we have is material cost variance. We have the total material cost variance. How do we calculate material cost variance? Material cost variance is equal to SQ into SP minus AQ into AP. Correct? Khatija says, B, please repeat. Okay. So, Khatija, what we know is the proportion has to be 800 is to 600. Correct? So, when I divided 1644 into 800 by 1400, I got 940. And then I multiplied into 600 by 1400, I got 705. So that's how I got these two figures, 940 plus and 705. Clear? Okay. Now, material cost variance is SQ into SP minus AQ into PP. Now, one thing to note is they have given us the total material cost. So this is what AQ into AP, actual quantity into actual price, isn't it? This is our AQ, this is our AP because this is our actuals. So the total AQ into AP is given already to us as 59,825 in the question itself. So we can say AQ into AP is equal to how much? 59,825. Clear? Everybody following? Clear, right? Okay. If anybody has a doubt, just let me know. I'll repeat it. I'm assuming everybody has understood. This is our actual, no? This is our total actual cost. So when they've given us the total amount, this is AQ into AP, actual cost into actual price. We have already gotten this. This is given in the question. Now let's place this into this. So we have MCV is what? 3625 plus. It's a positive. 3625 is equal to SQ into SQ into SP minus 59,825. Okay. So that way we'll get SQ into SP is equal to how much, guys? 59,000. No, let's do it the other way. 59,825. It's negative, so we take it there. Let's add it. 3625. So that will come to 63,450. Correct? Here, everybody? Everybody understood this? Yes. Okay. What is 63,450? SQ into SP, which is our total of this table. So this total amount that is there here now, that is our SQ into SP. Just like how this was AQ into AP. So we'll go here, we'll give it a link and we'll get this here. So the total amount is 63,450. Now we know 700 into 5, we have 30, we have 940. Easy to find price, right? Reverse calculation. We can keep this as X for now. We can find this. So this will become what? 940X. So find X. Okay. So that will be 940X plus 21150 is equal to 63,450. Let's put it here. 940X plus 21,150 is equal to 63,450. Isn't it? So what is X is equal to? 63,450 minus 21,150, the whole divided by 940. What is that coming to? Did anybody find the answer? X is equal to 45. Perfect. So we'll quickly go here and we'll write 45. And we'll get 940 into 45. Okay, so this should sum up to 63,450. Clear? So this is just a reverse working. Now if you go to the next part, what is missing here in this second table? Actual input. Quantity is missing for B. Price is missing for A. So let's start with quantity for B. That is AQ for B. How do we calculate AQ for B? What we have now is material price variance, isn't it? So what is material price variance? Quickly in the chat box. Material price variance is SP minus AP into AQ. Correct, Khatija, correct, Neetu. Perfect. So now what we'll do here is, how we can do this? Yes, correct. Let's open up the bracket. What will we get here? We'll get SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. Open up the bracket. Now, did it ring a bell? AP into AQ. Do we have AP into AQ, guys? Do we have AP into AQ? We're talking about total here. Total AP into AQ. 59,825. Perfect. MPV is given to be what? Price variance is 175 positive. So 175 is equal to SP into AQ minus 59,825. So we can say SP into AQ is equal to 59,825 plus 175. That gives me 60,000. Okay. Now I have arrived at this. You need to think a little more and understand that what does SP into AQ mean? SP into AQ is the total standard price into the total actual quantity. Sorry, the total standard price into the total actual quantity. Here again, this is our X, isn't it? This SP into AQ is for the total. So if you had to bifurcate this, it would have SPA into SPA into SPA into AQA. Plus SPB into AQB. Is everybody understanding what is SP into AQ? Because this SP into AQ is for the total. Total. But in that we have two materials. So SPA into AQA plus SPB into AQB is the total SP into AQ. Here, everybody? Okay. So this is equal to 60,000. Now, what happened is, if you go back to the chart, we have AQA and we have the standard rates for both. So let's start placing it. SPA is how much? What is SPA, everybody? What did we calculate SPA as? 45. So 45 into what is AQA? 900 plus SPB 30 into what is AQB? X. Got it? This is equal to 60,000. So what is this? X is equal to how much? 60, what is 900 into 45? 40,500. So this will be 60,000 minus 40,500 divided by 30. So how much will that come to? 60,000 minus 45,000 divided by, 40,500 divided by 30. Perfect, Neetu. That comes to 650. Our X, which is basically our AQB, is come to 650. Let's go and place it here. 650. So now we have AQA, we have AQB, we have the actual price for B. Only this is missing. This is our X. And we find it because we have total. So we can say our amount for B is how much? 650 into 32.5. 21,125. What will it be here? 900x. So 900x plus 21,125 is equal to 59,825. So find x. What is it? Please find it and let me know in the chat box. 900x plus 21,155, right? How much is it? 21,000. Okay, Neetu has already got the answer. 21,125 is equal to 59,825. So what is x? X will be 59,825 minus 21,125 divided by 900, which comes to. Neetu, how did you get 38,700? Okay, the 59,825 minus 21,000. But we need to divide it by 900 now to find the x. Yes, correct. So that is 40. So I hope everybody has arrived at 43 as the final answer. So we can put this in our amount. 43. So that will be 900 into 43. Okay. Now that we have our actual quantity and we have our standard ratio, what can we go ahead and calculate? The revised actual input. How do we calculate that? Revised actual input in the proportion of the standard quantity, correct? Standard input. So can somebody tell me the formula for A? How will we calculate the RSQ? Please let me know in the chat box. How will we calculate the RSQ? Standard quantity divided by total standard quantity into total actual quantity. Perfect. So 59,825, which is the total actual quantity. Okay, first we'll calculate the total here. 1645. And let's change the proportion. So actual quantity, which is not 59,000, which is perfect. I see the formula in the chat box. Good. Into 940 divided by 1645. So that will give me 885, which is around 86. And this will be total actual quantity into 705 divided by 1645. So this should give me a total of 1550. So we have calculated our revised standard quantity. So this will help us in what? Our mixed variance. So if we have to calculate what is mixed variance, difference between which two is mixed variance? Between RSQ and standard or RSQ and actual? Mixed variance is the difference between which two components? RSQ and AQ. Correct me. So we can quickly calculate it here itself. Mixed variance. So actually no, it will get confusing. Let's do it here. Okay. So let's do it for A. So what did you say? It is RSQ minus AQ into SP or AP? SP. Correct. So that will be RSQ is what? 885 minus AQ is what? 900 into SP is what? 45. So that will be 642, isn't it? And this is, what do you think? It's adverse or favorable? Revised standard quantity is 885. We have ended up using 900. Better or worse? Favorable or adverse? Hello? This is favorable or adverse, everyone? We have used 900 kgs. but we should have used it's adverse, correct? Because we have used more, right? Quantity is used more. So it is an adverse situation. So we'll go ahead and put adverse. What is the amount here for B? RSQ 664 and AQ is 650. Here itself tell me, is this favorable or adverse? RSQ 664. We have used actually 650. Neetu says favorable, Atira says favorable, and yes, it is favorable. So the total comes to 214 adverse. Okay, that is our final answer. 214 adverse. All right, so this brings us to the end of standard costing. Is there any questions or any doubts or any concept that you want me to repeat or do it again or solve more questions, anything of that sort? Please let me know in the chat box. I have tried to cover as much examples and all the concepts. Concepts have completely covered it. Questions, yes, I want you to resolve it from your side. A lot more practice to be done from your side. And yes, I don't think it should be much of an issue. Is there any questions, any doubts, any clarifications that you require? Please let me know. Otherwise, that's about it. This is a wrap for the chapter, and we have closed standard costing. All clear, everybody?